Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I know we are in a very dangerous time zone right now, but I'll try my best to keep you awake through the photographs which I'm going to show you. So I'm representing my organization, iNaturewatch Foundation, which is basically an environmental non-profit working in the sphere of eco-restoration. And we primarily work with corporates under corporate social responsibility. I don't know how many of you would be aware that in India, CSR law is a mandatory law. Any company that is making a profit of $680,000 in a year is supposed to spend 2% of its profit for social causes. There are altogether 11 social causes, out of which environment is one of the cause. So we specialize in identifying a problem in a society, which is where the community is already working or community is trying to protect something, and we just give a push through our CSR projects. So most of our projects are having 4 common components. One is plantation, because in India, all corporates are, I would say, they always want plantation in every project. So plantation is part of it. Then biodiversity assessment, community engagement, and nature education. So I'm going to present 3 of my project sites today. I don't know how much justice I will do for this 3-year projects of 3 sites in 15 minutes, but I'll try my best. So this is one project called Taloja Hill Watershed, because it is in an urban area in Navi Mumbai where I stay. This is a hillock region at the edge of the residential area, and it is in the monsoon. It looks like this, and you can see the water bodies there. Since the hills are providing water to this water body, therefore we call it a watershed project. But in summer, this is how the site looks. And this site has been actually affected by various problems, which is just common, like degradation, then forest fires is rampant right from November to May. Every month, at least 2 or 3 incidents of wildfires happen, which are of course man-made, not wild. Then we have a cattle grazing problem, because there are local villages around who graze the cattle in this area. And soil erosion is the ultimate result, and this hill is literally collapsing. But there are communities who are trying to protect it. They're doing small steps of planting, greening the hill. But that's where we thought of giving a push to this community by bringing a CSR project, and we started in 2020, which was a pandemic year. So this is how the hill looks in October when the wildflowers bloom. And the intervention that we planned is plantation, of course, but let me tell you about the funding agencies. DCB Bank is a financial institution who actually sponsored the first 3 years of the project. From 2024, there's another corporate which has pitched in, looking at the positive results of a previous project, Wadley. So here the plantation, as I mentioned, we do plantation, and we managed to protect, at least get the survival rate of 64% of the plants. You can see how the plantation has been done. It is a very random way, because we identified the gaps in the canopy, gaps in the habitats, and wherever the soil was suitable, because it's a rocky and hilly area. There are no flat areas at all in this hill region. So this is how the plantation was done. And we also looked into the soil moisture conservation. We made contour bunding, then check dams. Here you can see how check dam built in summer helps the soil to hold in the monsoon. We also work with the invasive species in the area. American mint is a dominant invasive species which has taken over the hills. So we're trying to remove it. We are working on nearly 10 hectares land, out of which 45% of the land has been cleared by invasive species. We do periodic biodiversity assessment, because this is one indicator to tell that whatever we are doing is helping the habitat. So we have been doing it every quarterly, like every seasonal, and in 3 years' time, we found that there is an increase in biodiversity species diversity, nearly 500%. And these are the texts that we actually document on regular basis. Since this is a place where people come for trekking, walking, and it is a beautiful place in monsoon. Nearly 1,000 people actually visit on daily basis the hill. So we created pathways. And this land belongs to the forest department, who is our partner. So they didn't allow us to do any concrete material to be used on the land. So what we did, we used coconut shells as a curbstones to demarcate the pathway. And you can see how in summer we use a coconut shell, and in monsoon the same pathway became and the whole purpose was that visitors should not trample the forest and they should follow follow this pathway. So this is one of our innovations, I would say. Outreach programs are the core of all our projects. All CSR projects, this is mandatory that we engage with the community. It is mandatory that we engage the corporate employees also. So outreach programs is a part and parcel of all CSR projects. So what we have done, we have a community of local volunteers already, plus the corporate keeps on sending their own employees on every month or quarterly basis. So we have engaged more than 800 volunteers, and we have, since our project started in pandemic, in our area, local movement was allowed. So we were able to tap in this lockdown warriors, I call them. They helped us to kick off the plantation project during the lockdown. We also conduct nature awareness programs, because it's not that we conserve something and not communicate to the community. So we have to communicate that how great this habitat is, why one should conserve it. That's where the nature trails, nature camps and workshops comes in. We also conduct capacity development program. This project is already ended in 2023. So when we exited, so before that we did a capacity development program for interested individuals over there into naturalists. So tomorrow if Forest Department wants to conduct nature trails, they should not come back to iNaturewatch Foundation. It should be on a, what you say, autopilot mode. So these people who got trained under us, they can conduct the programs. From this year onwards, since forest fires is such a big problem, we started implementing wildfire management initiatives, where we started creating awareness about wildfire, because if a hill is on the fire, nobody bothers about it. So we felt that people should get bothered that my hill is on fire, because it is adding to so much of pollution for that area, not to mention about the loss of the flora and fauna. So we started doing demonstrations, because people don't know how to use a fire extinguisher in the first place. So we started doing this. We started creating awareness. And to do all this, we have to develop a range of educational resources. We developed a field guide, pictorial field guide, which is an outcome of the biodiversity surveys that we did. We give this to all visitors who come to the hill. It's a free, it is sponsored under the program. Then we created fire awareness posters like this and installed them throughout the hill, so that people know if they see a fire, they know the fire brigade number is also given. They can just call up the fire brigade and help in reducing the fire spread. We identified grassland birds which are getting affected by wildfire and created an appeal. Like, these birds are appealing that please protect the habitat for us and see that nobody is littering, because it's all man-made fire, it's not natural fire. And this is one concept I picked up from US. I found in one of the sites, they had created this wildfire indicator, which basically advises the visitors that today whether there's a possibility of wildfire or not. So that was about the first project. I'm coming to the second project. Second project is in the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which is a wildlife is a protected area. It is only a national park in Mumbai. Here we had taken some 5-hectare degraded habitat, which is again used by the local communities, communities who are actually affecting the habitat in a negative way. They're playing crickets. They were creating cricket pitches. And lots of garbage dumping used to happen, and they used to light fires also in the forest. So such kind of habitat came. So we used a assisted natural regeneration method over here, which is like repairing the habitat so the habitat rejuvenates itself. You don't need any additional support. So out of the 6 principles of ANR, we have addressed 5 of them. And this project is also sponsored by the DCB Bank, and our partner is Maharashtra State Forest Department. Here to we follow the same principle of how to find the gaps, and we call these plants as canopy plants. The one whose trees might grow in 10 to 15 years to bridge the gap in the canopies. The survival rate in this area has been 50%. But besides this, what we have also done is that we created pollinator zones and deer browse zones. Because the forest department wanted to create a habitat for the deers, so we created zones where the area was too vast, where you can't have the canopy plugs. So we created zones like this. Here too we have done the biodiversity assessment, which showed an increase of 300% of biodiversity since the year 1. And here we designed the nature trails which are not existing. So we and since the stones were available, so we used the stones here as a curved stones. The ANR interventions which we use here is that the number 1 is to protect the wildlings. Whatever wild saplings are growing, try to give protection to them. If they are growing well, so try to see that if you can enrich them with further manuring or deweeding. And grass control. Grass is the main source of the fire, so grass is literally cut. And also we do what is called fire lining, which which is the forest department helps us to create these fire lines. Invasive species also a problem over here. The invasive species that is affecting the habitat is sandweed. Soil conservation measures have been also undertaken here, and the soil is poor in organic carbon, so we enrich it with additional manuring. And here we have been using coconut shells as a mulch material because this area has no water supply, there is no water body, so we provide the water through tankers. So we keep this mulch at the base of the plants, so this mulch holds water for longer duration. So therefore this was done. A nursery was also established. Here to the same, we have developed this nature trail signs, then exhibits, some activity stations, and wildlife installation like watering holes were created. That's about SGNP, and here same kind of activities we did with our community, the volunteering programs, then the awareness program. This area being more accessible, schools are able to visit it. We are planning a capacity development program for the forest department. The projects are coming to end in March 2024. This is the last project, the Ambivli Biodiversity Park, which was actually a project of Kalyan Municipal Corporation. They had already done plantation. They wanted us to convert this into a tourist zone. So they gave a land like this to us, which was having lots of shrubberies, and we thought of, and this was the usual problem, the fire. And we transformed the project site from this to this in 2 years' time. And these are the interventions. Of course, the plantation is one, but the unique part is the thematic gardens, astral, medicinal, bee, butterfly, bird, and bat gardens were created as a tourist attraction. And the biodiversity assessment showed 500% increase. And nature trails were developed here, and invasive species were also addressed. And these are the range of educational resources that we created for the visitors. And this is an activity stations, bingo is something unique we had developed. I can explain about it if anybody is interested. And we created bug hotels, bird homes, bee homes, and nest boxes, reptile homes, amphibian homes, everything to get more attractive, and people get interested when they see this, all things. So the outreach programs, I'll just skip this part because the same model we follow. There's local community, the corporate group, and the training for the locals as an naturalist training program. But what is that we did? We did a small study with our volunteers to understand why they were volunteering with us. We found out that women were the highest in our volunteer group. Every project site has nearly 200 community volunteers, and the working class was the best they were coming forward to volunteer. So 35 to 44 age group is the one. And students, after the working class, professional students are the one who prefer to volunteer with us. And then what the volunteers are looking for? They were basically want to reach out to volunteers. As you would be knowing, the word of mouth and social media is the best way. But people who are interested in environment, they wanted to join with us. People who have wanted to do something positive for the environment, they also wanted to join with us. And people who wanted to learn about environment, they also joined us. And at the end, how they benefited? They benefited to understand the local issues, local problems. They also experienced how the positive impact they did, how it's a stress-busting activity for them, and they love working with like-minded people. And many of our volunteers are even thinking of changing their careers now after working with us for the last 3 to 4 years. So we are addressing 10 goals of SDGs. These are the goals. That's it.